Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Reading Through the Generations. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this week's video, I have a little idea that's been ruminating in my mind. If you're anything like me, you get really excited about the festive season, which I can't believe is right around the corner. And I've been trying to get some things in order in preparation for participating in Vlogmas this year. I've never participated in it before. I've always wanted to, but just health-wise, it just wasn't possible. And so I have a little idea I want to share with you. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these bookish advent boxes that you can purchase. They're a little bit outside of my price range, and so every year I make a little DIY version. I have a little wooden advent calendar, and I take little scraps of paper and of the books that are from my own shelves, and I just thought, well, wait a minute. While browsing my shelves, I gathered some things together, like, you know, bookish accessories, and then books, of course, for gifting a bookish advent to a loved one. And I thought I'd share this with you in case you feel inspired to make one yourself for a grandchild or a best friend, or how fun would it be if you have a loved one who has a birthday in December, and doing this for that. So I do have a recipient in mind for this particular advent, and I have a collection of various bookish goodies, you know, some edible treats, and yeah, let's go ahead and start with the books. So I was thinking for day one, since I got my sister into Terry Pratchett, she really loves the characters of death and the witches, and this is one that she hasn't read yet, I'm pretty sure. This is Witches Abroad, and this is a spoof on the Cinderella fairy tale. It says, once upon a time there was a fairy godmother named Desiderata who had a good heart, a wise head, and poor planning skills, which unfortunately left the Princess Emberella in the care of her other, not quite so good and wise godmother when death came for Desiderata. So now it's up to Margaret Garlick, Granny Weatherwax, and Nanny Og to hop on broomsticks and make for far distant Genoa to ensure the servant girl does not marry the prince. So I think she'll really enjoy this one. Then I have an Icelandic folktale collection. This is by Hjörleifur, Helgi, Stefánsson, and it's beautifully illustrated as well. There's another one. The illustrator is Tord Sandstrom Falstrom, and she's a far braver reader than I am. She's an October baby, so she loves everything spooky. I know Iceland is on her bucket list to visit, and I spotted this and just thought, oh my gosh, she'd love it. And it says, Iceland is a country where stories are as important as history. When Vikings settled the island, they brought their tales with them. Every rock, hot spring, and waterfall seems to have its own story. Cruel man-eating trolls rub shoulders with beautiful elves whose homes are hidden from mortal view. Vengeful ghosts envy the living, seeking to drag lost loves into their graves, or they may simply demand a pinch of your snuff. This is one that's possibly going to end up in her advent. And then I have a sweet little historical romance called A Snowfall of Silver. This one's by Laura Wood, and this one tells the story of, I think it's set in 1930s England. You follow, it's a bit of a coming of age tale. The heroine runs away from her family home in Cornwall to pursue her dream of a life on the stage. Nothing ever goes as she plans it, and it's adorable, and I think she'll love it. And it's wintry, so it's perfect. And then I have this one. It's another collection of spooky tales for the winter time, and this one has some of my favorite authors like Joan Aiken. It says, "It's Christmas Eve, snow falls in fierce flurries and a cold biting wind howls around the house. Inside, a group of friends draw close together, desperately seeking warmth. Haltingly, they begin to tell each other tales." I think each chapter heading has its own illustration, and they're illustrated by David Wyatt. Oh my god, this looks so scary. Go, here's another one. Winter is the perfect time to cozy up with a good mystery, and I have a Teach a Rosie mystery. This is follows Lily Macapagal, and she has her own cafe, and this one is set over the Christmas holidays, so I think this one should be fun. I think the first book is Arsenic and Adobo, but you don't really have to read them in order, so I like mysteries that are like that. So that's another possibility. And then I have one of my favorite books from this year. It's the novella The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mohtar, and this one is also gorgeously illustrated. I think she may have done the illustrations, actually. It's just such a magical story. It's a retelling of the 7 Bonnie Swans. There's another one. And it's about just a sisterly bond that's unbreakable, and it's just one of the most beautifully told retellings I've ever read. And then I have some activity books, because I just figured it's a good idea to sort of space the books out, so like have a good balance between edible treats and like activity books. She loves puzzles, so I have a little books that have brain games in them. This is by the Puzzle Society, so like here's just an example of some of the puzzles, and I even have crosswords, and there's a Sudoku one that I think she might like. So this is what it looks like on the inside. So those are some ideas. Now on to the bookish gift accessories. So I have, every reader needs to have bookmarks, or they make these really cool book darts that are made out of brass, and they it's just a good substitute for, instead of highlighting or annotating with a pen or a pencil, it's just this book dart that you just put where you want to remember a quote, or where you left off, and it looks like that, and it doesn't leave any creases or anything, and it's just a very elegant way to keep track of your favorite quotes and stuff like that. It comes in this really sweet little tin. And then, yeah, I have bookmarks. This is some, you know, banned books week. I found these. I think she'd like them. I don't think she has those. And then I found her a stamp that's really, really cute. It's a castle. It says from the library of, if she wanted to use that for all her books on her shelves. Some edible treats. I found these adorable Alice in Wonderland tin tea collection. I think she might like. You can't go wrong with hot chocolate, candy. So yeah, candy, like little sweet treats. Instead of getting her eating chocolate, I got her baking chocolate. You can't go wrong with popcorn. There's various sticker books that you can buy. This one is a bibliophile one by Peter Pauper Press. Let me show you some examples. So there's, you know, vintage book covers, pages with bookish quotes. This is a fun one for reading journals. You could use these. There's another idea. And then I found this really fun traveler's passport book. It's for the United States and Canada, so it's like a passport, but there's spaces where you can make, so it goes state by state in alphabetical order, and I think there's a map, and there's like a spot for you to make notes on your travels as well, which I think is really fun. And then of course, every bibliophile needs a journal. This is done by Papyrus. And then, of course, I need to include a planner. It's always great to receive a new planner at the start of the year. And I needed to include stickers, of course, for the planner. Found this American Library Association journal where it is a 52-week journal, and it talks about 52 banned books, and I just thought that would be so fun to like gift this journal along with some of the books that are, some of the banned books that are in this journal. And yeah, the first one is The Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. And let's see what let me look at the index real quick. So the second book is The House of the Spirits by Isabella Allende. Speak by Laurie Hulse Anderson is the third one. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher is the next one. Handmaid's Tale. Fun Home, a Family Tragic Comic by Alison Bechdel. Something Happened in Our Town, a Child's Story About Racial Injustice by Marianne Solano, and others. And yeah, here's some pages from it. So there's a reading logbook. And yeah, this is what it looks like. So it's a prompted journal. So that's something that you could do too. So that's just another idea that I was thinking about. So that's my bookish advent calendar that I am planning on gifting. And thanks so much for joining me today. And I hope you got some ideas from this little video. And I will see you next time. Take good care. Bye-bye.